Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. It's 5:30 in the afternoon. I'm going to call the Town of Morristown Board of Liquor and Tobacco Control meeting to order. Do we have any agenda changes or additions?
No.
Okay, we have minutes from February 9th, 2026. I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve the minutes of February 9, 2026.
Second.
I have a motion by Richard and a second by Leah. Any discussion regarding the minutes? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Excuse. So liquor license applications, we have one liquor license application from Slim Point, which is Riverbend, also known as Riverbend Market.
I move to approve the liquor license application for Slim Point Incorporated, doing business as Riverbend Market at 18 Bridge Street for second class.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Richard, second by Laura. Any discussion? I assume the chief is fine with these?
Yes, both of them.
Great. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. We have one tobacco license application also from Slim Point. I would take a motion.
Move to approve the tobacco license application for Slim Point Incorporated, doing business as Riverbend Market at 18 Bridge Street for tobacco and tobacco substitute endorsement.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
So a motion by Richard, second by Laura. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous as well. We have no special event permits, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion by Richard and a second by Laura. It is 5:32. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous as well. Okay, we are no longer in liquor and tobacco. Just need a second before we start.
Good to go.
Good to go. Okay, thank you. So it is 5:33, Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. I'm going to call the Town of Morristown Selectboard meeting to order. Do we have any agenda changes or additions?
No.
Community comments. Do we have any community comments? Come on up to the microphone, identify yourself, please.
Evelyn Throne, Morristown. This is a small thing, but I keep forgetting to call. The end between the intersection of Congress Street and Winter Street, it's incredibly filled with water. It happens regularly, but it's frozen. And the drain is filled. And I have to walk out in the street, to get across that intersection. And it just would be great if it was drained a little bit.
I assume there's a manhole there.
It's not, of course, in like many of them, not in exactly the right spot, but it does do some good if it's
Okay.
able to function at all.
Maybe we can make a call to Water and Light. Okay, you got that, Brett? Okay, great. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to move on to approving the minutes. So we have minutes from February 2nd, 2026 for the informational meeting.
Move to approve the minutes of February 2nd, 2026 informational meeting.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion from Richard, second from Laura. Any discussion regarding the informational meeting minutes? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous as well. We have minutes from February 2nd, 2026 for our regular select board meeting.
Move to approve the minutes of February 2nd, 2026 regular select board meeting.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
So motion by Richard, second by Laura. Any discussion?
I noticed, I recall Meredith Scott being via Zoom at that meeting, but I don't see her name in the list of participants.
Yeah, I recall that as well.
You're right.
There's a Meredith Williams, and I just wondered if maybe it was a.
Yeah, she's.
So we should have Meredith Scott in there as on Zoom.
Yep.
Okay. Yep, I'm sorry, I didn't notice that earlier.
I didn't either.
Okay, thank you, Leah. Any other comments regarding the minutes? Okay. So all those in favor of the motion as presented to approve the minutes from February 2nd, 2026 with that one change, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous as well. Okay, moving on to new business. We have a fireworks application in our packet, consideration to approve a 1.4 Class C consumer fireworks display. And this was submitted by Thomas Snip. And that is for later this week, actually, the 20th of February. Tom, do you have anything you want to say in regards to this? I guess I have one question.
Sure, Tom.
In my mind, I think I don't have any concerns about this. I assume the neighbors are familiar with this and.
Yes, we have great neighbors, the Hubbards and the DeMars. And they've through the years, they've put up with a lot of our festivities, or yearly festivities. Family come up from New York, and they're great, and they have no issues with it. So I'm looking forward to it. And with this year being the Winter Olympics, we decided to up our gathering a little bit with having kids with the flags and the Olympic circle rings and a few fireworks to go along with it. But just thought, to be follow the rules, make sure we got all our T's crossed and our I's dotted, that we go ahead and request this permit.
Right. It's also worth noting that the fire chief and the police chief have both signed off on this as well. Questions from the board? Okay, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the 1.4 Class C consumer fireworks display permit for Thomas Snip at 178 DeMars Road, scheduled for February 20, 2026.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Sorry.
I have a motion by Richard and a second by George. Are you taking notes? Okay, thank you. Any further discussion or questions for Mr. Snip?
Have fun.
Thanks. We will appreciate it. More than merry.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Would be unanimous. Update for the 4th of July fireworks. And Brent, are you going to?
Adele is here.
Adele is here. Adele Taplin's going to speak to this. Go ahead.
Adele Taplin, Economic and Community Development Director. So I've been asked to give a little brief update on 4th of July. Back in mid-November, we received notification that North Star Fireworks, which has been our fireworks provider for 22 years, had partnered and been purchased by Pyrotechnico, and that it was going to be a high demand, which we knew because it was a 250th anniversary of the country. Judy confirmed on December 2nd with them that we would be interested in contracting with them again. And it was a verbal agreement by both parties, and we began promoting and event planning and all that fun stuff that went with it. On January 22nd, we received a call from North Star Pyrotechnic stating that they were booked for the 4th of July and that we need to select a new date. So that was rather shocking to us. Few follow-up conversations, and they confirmed that they were short-staffed, that it was difficult to get the fireworks, that the technicians weren't available, and that we would still need to select a new day. We reinforced that we traditionally, for many, many years, it's been on the 4th of July, and we have a parade, and there's a series of events that happen. That was didn't really mean much to their regional manager or pyrotechnico. So we began exploring other options. I looked into different companies in different New York and different areas, looked into drone shows. And of course, everyone was booked because it's America's 250th. Yeah.
Gonna amend your date to the 4th of July, Tom.
Judy responded with a couple email responses explaining again about our 22 years of working with them and that we've been aware of increases and always supported that and supported them. And we just reiterated again that there was nothing available on the 4th of July. I started talking to community members and different people around and trying to find out what other communities might have been impacted by this. And it led to me speaking with a Stowe resident who actually works for North Star Pyrotechnico and actually is their technician for the Stowe fireworks. He let me know that the previous owner had heard about these cases and was not pleased, and that I would probably be receiving a phone call from him. But instead, we received notification the next day that they found a technician and our fireworks were going to happen on the 4th of July.
Good job.
So it was fully the response, the impact of the previous owner. He figured out a solution and split up a group of technicians that were more seasoned and could work on their own or with a helper. So that is that, and we continue our planning. We do have a theme for this year already. Well, first of all, it's Celebrate America 250 in Morristown. The theme is then, now, and next, and we're trying to incorporate as many organizations and groups as possible. MAC is getting involved and will help support with float decoration and different things. River Arts is involved. I'm still working on other participants and ways that we can make it even better. We're hoping to have a flyover from the Vermont National Guard.
Good. Well, thank you, Adele. So we will have fireworks on the 4th of July. Good. That's
We don't
good.
have to use fun.
But we can use them yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Use them all up.
Yeah.
Adele, yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. 1 sec. Yeah, go ahead.
Because we started this sponsorship program a couple years ago. Do we have sponsorship money to help pay for these fireworks or?
We also
Okay.
kicked off our sponsorship campaign last week. I was on hold because of this as well,
Yep.
trying to figure out. And we're well on our way to supporting this event as well as either.
Great, thank you.
Thank
If I
you.
may just follow up, Adele has a tendency to downplay the amount of work involved in certain things. So I just want to give her and Judy credit. It's important to me that our teams work as teams, and it's easy to get siloed, and the two of them really work together on this issue. And they spent a lot of time, and as you can sort of tell by Adele's description, they worked a lot of different avenues to save this for the community. So I just want to express appreciation to them both.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, anything else then? And that's just an FYI, there's no action needed.
No.
Okay. Well, that segues very nicely into number 3. Number 3, we have on the spot awards for Judy Alberry and Adele Taplin. And I've been involved in a number of these on the spot awards over the last year and a bit. And we've recognized people in the highway department, and we've recognized people in EMS. And now we're recognizing a couple of employees here at town government. And so I'd just like to read this on the spot award. This is presented on February 17th, 2026. Through persistence, diplomacy, and tireless follow-through, Adele Taplin and Judy Alberry, a decisive role in saving Morristown's July 4th fireworks celebration when it was unexpectedly placed at risk just months before the event. Faced with a vendor merger, significant cost increases, and notice from the vendor that they had canceled Morristown's fireworks, they refused to accept an outcome that would have altered a long-standing community tradition. Judy led focused, well-documented negotiations and underscored Morristown's 22-year partnership and consistent financial support. At the same time, Adele pursued alternative options and leveraged community connections to keep all avenues open. Their coordinated persistence ultimately secured a technical solution, ensuring the fireworks could proceed on July 4th as planned and preserving a cherished Independence Day celebration for the community. Thank you very much. Very deserved. So I would entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve Chair Don McDowell to sign the on-the-spot awards as presented to Judy Alberry and Adele Taplin.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Richard and a second by Laura. Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Judy and Adele.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Both of you do much more than save our 4th of July fireworks. But very deserving. Okay, so moving on, number 4, Stowe Land Trust is here tonight, and I believe there's a representative, Matt. Matt and Tom. I was looking at the wrong Matt.
You can sit here if you'd like.
Yeah, that would be great to come on up to the table. They're going to give a little presentation regarding a property known as Muddy Moose, which is in our packets, and I'll let you share the good news.
Sure. So first, I just want to clarify, we're here for mostly for Muddy Moose, but also to discuss some of our plans to expand our work in Morristown. And so before I go through that, and so that's also on those slides, Judy, if you yeah. So I'll just introduce, I'm Matt Kelly. I've been at Stowe Land Trust for just over a year. I'm a resident of Elmore. I have 2 kids in PA middle school.
I'm Tom Rogers. I'm the executive director of Stowe Land Trust. I've been there for about 1.5 years, and my wife and I have lived in Stowe for about 15 years.
Yeah, so part of what we want to do is just introduce ourselves in who we are and what we've been up to for the past year. So our organization has grown in the past 2 years from a staff of, I think, 3 full-time to now we're up to, 8? And our staff is from all over. I'm from Elmore. We have 2 staff members who are Morristown residents, 2 in Duxbury, 1 currently in Montpelier, 2 in Stowe. And so, so we're expanding our capacity, and with that, we are expanding the region that we serve. You can go forward, Judy. Thank you. And so what we're working on is updating our strategic conservation plan, which was typically centered on the town of Stowe and a little bit north and a little bit south. What we're proposing is a conservation region that we know that we're calling the Rivers to Ridges. So north to the Lamoille, south to the Winooski, west to the Green Mountains, and east to the Worcester Range. Go ahead, Judy. What we do is we work to protect land with very high conservation value along 5 categories. So working farms, working forests, wildlife biodiversity, recreation, and flood resilience. As we seek to update our strategic conservation plan, there's some geospatial analysis that goes along with that. But the other half of it is community outreach to make sure that we are responding to and incorporating the interests, needs, and priorities of the communities into our planning process. So that's partly why we're here tonight, and also to discuss Muddy Moose. And so the purpose of our community outreach is to get that input. We have events planned. One is tomorrow night. So we're just going to put a plug in tomorrow night at the Wing Center. That's going to be a much more robust presentation and some exercises to really get folks thinking about what matters to them in Morristown from a conservation perspective. And we also have an online survey. You can scan that code and that would take you right to it. So we're trying as hard as we can to make sure we get as many voices involved in this process. And so our ask for that is just to, help spread the word, promote our event for tomorrow, spread the word about our survey, and for the select board and any members of the community to please reach out to us. We want to know what excites you, what concerns you, what might be a priority for you from a conservation perspective. We're very happy to have worked with Jerry and the Morristown Conservation Commission and Brent and those folks on several projects. One thing that's really important to us is that we work with willing landowners. So we're not here to take property. We respect private property rights. And so that's how we work. We work with willing landowners that are willing to protect their land. So that's that for the planning process.
And before we jump into my section, can you actually go up to the last slide? Because I just wanted to point out that the photo from that is from the property that we're going to be talking about right now, which is Muddy Moose. And so we can jump right down to that next slide. So tonight we're actually we're already moving forward on that process. We have conserved lands in Morristown in the past. We have a couple that are on the Morristown side of the Stowe line, and we have a couple that are in Waterbury already. And so really our goal is to kind of expand that moving forward. And tonight we're here to propose a potential transfer of this property that was recently purchased by Stowe Land Trust to the people of the town of Morristown. And so the name of the property is Muddy Moose. We worked with a couple of absolutely spectacular landowners on this. There's going to be a housing project as part of this as well, converting some previously short-term rentals into long-term, permanently affordable community housing. We purchased out of this 150 undeveloped acres. That is an absolute gem of a property. It has a developed trail network, both for hiking trails and cross-country ski trails. It has an absolutely beautiful scenic gorge. It goes all the way down to the Lomoil River, has a swimming beach, if you can believe it, right along the river there. It's just you couldn't design a property like this if you did it in a factory. It's just amazing. And so our goal with this is we've been doing this kind of in partnership to some degree with the Conservation Commission, who were part of helping to broker this idea in the first place with us. And our goal was to put it to the town of Morristown and to the people of the community to see if there was something that you wanted to add to the assets of the community. So there's a map here of basically where the property is. It's at the end of Cody Hill Road, and there's a developed trail network there. Our goal with this is to donate this to the town of Morristown at no cost. And in addition, we wanted to cover all of the potential costs of putting in a trailhead, small parking area, and kiosk, work with you all on that, and then kind of work with the community and the select board and the Conservation Commission on upgrading and maintaining the trail system so that it can really withstand the amount of probably likely public use that it would have. So our goal is included in the budget of the proposal to include roughly $87,000, which is our estimate for some of the expenses right out of the gate. And so our ask basically is that you consider a proposal to accept this property as part of the Morristown community assets. This is a property that we have, this is a model that we've done quite a bit in Stowe. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with Mayo Farm in Stowe. Katy Hill is also a town-owned property that we conserved. Quite a few down the line. Most of their town-owned properties were originally conserved by Stowe Land Trust, and we continue to work in partnership with them to have that as a community asset, something that they can use in their tourism industry and all of the things that makes, that adds to the quality of life of the community. And so we're really looking to expand that model to here in Morristown. Forget if there's one more slide. Yes, just the thank you slide and all of our contact information.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Matt and Tom. Thanks for the presentation. And certainly thanks for the offer of the land. I am somewhat familiar with that area. I can't say as if I've walked the trails extensively, but I would agree it's a beautiful end of town, and the fact that it backs up on the Lomoil River is certainly special for a lot of people that like to get out and get out in the woods. So it is, so there are 8 or 9 structures right there right now. They would be removed. Is that my understanding, or they'd be replaced?
No, they are actually not part of this 150 acres. So they
Okay.
were purchased by Downstreet Community Housing and Development. It's a separate 18-acre parcel, and those are going to be turned into full-time community housing.
Okay.
So 6 of those 8, they are going to do as deed restricted affordable housing. They're going to sell them for $250,000 to $280,000 to
Okay.
people who apply and have a certain income range. And then 2 of them are going to be market rate, and so probably a little bit above that, I would guess in the mid 3s.
So they're ready to go for long-term housing now.
They are.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's my mistake. And also included in your presentation, your offer is $87,000 to go towards equipment to maintain the trails, to create the trails and maintain the trails over the next 5 years.
Yeah, that's in the project budget for what we're trying to fundraise for. We're down to about $200,000 out of about a $3.9 million project that we have left to fundraise. And we're really just kind of ramping up the community outreach on that. So we feel very confident we'll get to that number.
Okay. And also part of the proposal is that we would put together a trails committee. You're looking for us to put together a committee that would manage the trails, take care of the trails.
That was an idea of one way to do it. We've also talked to the Stowe Trails Partnership. They maintain the trails at Katy Hill and many of the trail systems for the town of Stowe, and they're interested in similarly expanding their reach beyond the valley. They want to be really sensitive to trail builders here that are already existing, and they don't want to kind of encroach. And so if their expertise is wanted, they're certainly willing to come in and help. And so we would continue to partner with you all on that, but that's one idea of how we can manage the trails. And Matt,
Yeah, I'll just chime in. So I spoke with a select board member in Hardwick who's also on the trails committee for the Hardwick trails. Just to say, how do they do it? What's their experience, and pick his brain a little bit. And so that entity, their trails committee, basically does things like budgeting, makes decisions on how to spend money, who to hire if they need to hire, to get volunteers there. And so what I found appealing about that is that it becomes not just one person making a decision, or not Stowe Land Trust making a decision about how the trails should be managed, but members of the community who are coming together, meeting regularly, voting on issues and actions, and then putting those things into place. And then for the first, while we have that $87,000, that trails committee could then say, we've decided on this, we want to purchase this, the money gets released, and then they move forward. So it just seemed like a nice model that Hardwick is using, and it seems like it's working well over there.
Yeah, when I was reading this about the trails committee, or that part of the proposal, that idea, I was just thinking about other areas of town that we have significant trails. And I'm looking at the chair of the Morristown Conservation Commission right now, because MCC, the Conservation Commission, has done, in my opinion, a fantastic job with trails up in what we call the Morristown Forest, what I call the Beaver Meadow area. Yep. And I can think of trails elsewhere in town as well. We've got parcels of, we've got easements, conservation easements around town that have trails. And I'm just wondering if this might be the impetus to kick off some kind of a trails committee. And, that's one more chore. That's one more thing that we as a town need to consider. But we are a destination for people that want to get out. They want to hike. They want to mountain bike. They want to cross country ski in the wintertime. They want to access the out of doors. And, I know where I live, I see it all the time in town. So I'm just, I guess for me, it's an opportunity to begin to, maybe this is the seed that we need to pull something like that together. And it might be interesting to talk to folks from Hardwick and other towns and and find out what others are up to. So I guess I'd leave it at that for now. Any other questions from the board?
I'm just curious, where would the proposed access be from? Would it be from Cody Hill down to?
Yeah.
To that area?
Yeah,
So
so
it'd
we-
be challenging to get from the Hyde Park side into.
Right, correct. Yeah. And we, there's tentatively cited a small parking area already that's passed through the DRB process. It would probably be, that's currently on the 18-acre parcel that is owned by Down Street. And so we would apply for DRB approval to do just a small parking area on our side of the boundary line. And one more thing that I wanted to add that Matt was actually really diligent in looking into is he spoke to the town lister, and there would be a little bit of a loss of revenue to the community from taking this as opposed to us privately owning it and paying taxes. But in the lister's unofficial opinion, he said that it would be offset by the increased revenue from the homes being now subdivided and sold separately. And so it would be a net neutral for the town.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. That was one of my questions before I read the packet, and yeah, it's clearly in there, and that seems to make a lot of sense. It seems like a very clear offset, actually. I think you're polite in the way you put the words together here.
So I had some questions. First of all, I didn't know if we had the infrastructure of a trails committee, and how is that set up, and how does that roll up, and do they have funding? As we know now, it's an incredible opportunity, and you can see the potential in it. I did have some questions. My background is fundraising, so I had some questions regarding the operations and maintenance fund. You said originally 87,000 to kind of get things established, and then annual costs for the parking, plowing, and winter grooming, and annual maintenance, et cetera, for about 22,000. And do you see contributing that 22,000 annually for 5 more years? And
So that's for the 5 years. So that's over 5 years.
Over
That's
5
the
years.
estimate. And we took, some similar properties that we maintain and plow, and that's the private plowing cost. I can imagine it might be slightly less for the town since you already have people on payroll that do plowing, and it's just a small addition to their duties. But so that was the estimate for the 5-year period.
okay. Okay, so that is, so once that time period is up, then we become responsible for upkeeping the parking, as well as the equipment there, as well as the ongoing maintenance. So there's going to need to be either more fundraising and or budget allocation.
That's one avenue it could be done. I mean, we could think about Stowe Trails Partnership coming in and being the partner on that, working with the community in Morrisville to include that in their annual, they maintain a lot of the trails for the town of Stowe, and they do it through fundraising as well. We could be a partner with this. This is kind of our first project with the community. And so really we want to hear from you guys, like what works and how can we do this and what timeline works for you. So if any part of this feels like we want to adjust or rethink, we're happy to have that conversation. We really want to just come in and be the best partner we can to the town.
I mean, I definitely would want to have conversation with Jerry and the conservation committee to see what folks are thinking there. And then as well with Brent as far as what does that infrastructure look like and what is feasible in the long run. But I think it's an incredible opportunity. I just think we need to put some structures in place and have some conversations about what that structure looks like.
I think you've hit it on the head. It's the potential financial burden that we need to consider as a board. But I'm going to look at the chair of the Conservation Commission again, and the board can overrule me, but it might be nice for MCC to at least have a preliminary discussion about what this might mean. If they have some thoughts, since the Conservation Commission, as I said before, they've been in the trail business, and they've constructed trails, and I know a lot of it's it's volunteer work. It's not paid employees that are doing this, but again, I see this as a place for an opportunity in the future to begin. But as Leah's reminded us, there's a financial burden associated with this, and there's also a committee of volunteers that are potentially burdened to make sure that this does happen. Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry Throne.
So, this is a topic for discussion for Thursday night, when we have our monthly meeting. And, this was one of the things that, I intended to discuss with the other members because, although myself and one other member have been very much involved in Stowe Land Trust, acquisition of the property, the other members have been, not brought up to speed. So I need to bring them up to speed so they know what the situation is. I have sent them this proposal so they know that we're going to talk about it. But yeah, I need to hear what they have to say about this proposal and then get back to you all about it.
That's great. I'm glad to hear it's on the agenda. Yeah. Good.
So Don, if I might make it ask, we are working, our final grant for this project is coming from the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board. In order to release those funds and complete the project, we need to put a conservation easement on the property. And so that needs to be done probably in the next 6 weeks or so. If the community is interested in at least continuing this conversation, it would be great to have that conversation with you all so that when we place that easement on the property, it reflects kind of what we want to do with the property, whether you end up deciding to take it or not. And so tonight we're here just to kind of gauge that level of interest. Because if you came away and said, we're absolutely not interested at all, conversation over, then we would just go ahead and place the easement, release the funds, and we'd be done. If it's something that we're continuing to talk about, it frankly doesn't matter to us if you decide 6 months from now we're ready, a year from now we're ready. We just want to be partners with you when we place that easement so that we can kind of all work together on that. And whether we partner on the easement and then 6 months from now you decide, you know what, it's not the right avenue for us, that's fine. We just want to have you there at the table and as part of that conversation so that we can move forward on that process. Because that's the only thing that the clock's ticking on a little bit.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it's a very exciting project and, something that I would like the town to consider. And you're saying we got about 6 weeks to just get back to you with a head nod.
With a like tentative, like, let's have this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would give time for the Conservation Commission to have a discussion too, and maybe bring any concerns, questions back to the board. So this would be a future, agenda item for us.
Just a point of clarification. You're saying that the easement needs to be completed in 6 weeks, I would also recommend that people who are interested in recreation provide feedback as well. I don't know if, recreation structures would be allowed in an easement, but, we want to be thinking about all potential opportunities that would work with this if the select board would choose to move forward. We have quite significant restrictions on recreation areas in the community. So I think that we should proactively reach out to some folks who are interested in recreation just to get their feedback about what they would be interested in potential facilities.
Is it safe to say the board is feeling positive about this and questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Let me say that my first reaction is this is a jewel that we shouldn't be missing. So if I ask some questions that sound like they may be a little negative, I'm not supportive, but
Kick the tires, please.
yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to do. So, I'm looking at the ongoing work, the plowing, the winter grooming, the annual maintenance. And while I believe these numbers as good as can be, we all know that this can vary significantly. We've got a miserable windstorm that comes through. We could have 30 trees down on these trails, and clearly we can't leave that like that. Winter grooming, I'm assuming, means getting capable of cross-country skiing, and whether it's tracks or just flat groomed out and people make their own trails. Depending on how much they're getting used, that can be a fairly that can need to happen several times a week if people, depending on what kind of condition you want them in. Right. So there, as I'm saying, this is something we really need to be considering seriously. On the other hand, I think we need to take into account that we want this to look good. If we're gonna do this, we can't kind of do this. We need to do this with commitment. And whether that's through Conservation Committee, the town using whatever other means it has, not only financially, but having personnel that are engaged to say, oh, we've got 6 inches of snow. We've got to get up and groom those trails. And not, it's Tuesday, so we don't groom kind of thing.
Sure.
To have them in the shape. We've got a bridge that if we get flooding, there's risks of damage to a bridge. And we've got all the stuff that happens in the woods on an annual basis of trees and whatnot. So I just want to be slightly cautious that I would not like to get into a jewel and then turn it into a poor rock. That's would be my fear, is that we can't either get the manpower, person power to commit to doing this, either as a volunteer or as some paid staff, whichever the case might be. And then it begins to deteriorate over time. And now we're guilty of letting a jewel get away. And I don't want to commit to that. If we're going to go, we need to be so that this is going to be maintained so that people can be proud of this site. And use it as a recreational, use it as a tourist attraction to say, you want to cross-country ski, but you don't want to do the traps or the craft race. We've got one here. And it's very nice, and we're not charging. It's part of the available recreation, whether it's for residents or non-residents. So those are my 2 thoughts. I think it's a great thing. And God, when I read this, I went, wow, what a gift this is to the town. And partially funded. How much better does it get to start? But at some point it becomes ours.
Right.
In what fiscally, and it's always ours in maintenance. And I want to make sure that we don't shortchange Stowe Land Trust, frankly, for being thoughtful of us, as well as shortchange the people who donated this land for this purpose, and then let it get away from us, and they go to hike it or ski it, and we go,
Right.
why did we do this? I don't want to do either of those. So that's my caution in my own mind. But boy, what a great opportunity this place is one too.
Couple thoughts there. One is,
Please.
I just want to take a moment and acknowledge the people who built these trails, who are here today, Chuck and Christine. And so they are Morristown residents, and I won't put them on the hook for being on a committee or anything, but I think Chuck he knows those trails like the back of his hand. And so we wouldn't be starting from nothing. We'd learn from all his mistakes, which might be a few. For instance, today he emailed me and said, "Don't buy a snowmobile, buy a 4-track ATV that you're gonna get." And it's like, yeah, perfect. That's great. So we have some institutional knowledge that hopefully we can lean on a little bit. The other thing is if the town were to own it, we can always write into that agreement that we would have right of first refusal if you ever wanted to sell it. Right, that we would take it back. Because we don't want a gem to turn into a rock either. Absolutely. I'm sure the Pepes don't want that either. So so if that were a way to sort of if things were going south or not working out, maybe that's a way to make sure that the town isn't just burdened with this property.
And it would be sorry, Don, I didn't mean to.
No,
There's
you
one more
go.
thing that
you
I would
go
add
ahead.
is it would be our intention at every juncture possible to be a good partner to the community. And if, a few years down the line, there was a maintenance or an issue that we were struggling with, we would certainly come in and try to help fundraise money for it. Or, a lot of the trail grooming that's done in Stowe is done by a team of volunteers that, retired people that just love doing that kind of stuff and keeps the costs down quite a bit. So
that was the same in Hardwick. They have a volunteer group.
Other questions?
I'd just like to say that's kind of what I was thinking, is we can rely on those other groups that already do that. I know that the Katie's Falls Trails, it's like 5 guys that get together and do maintain all those mountain bike trails there. So I don't think that there's not a group of people. We can probably readily find a group of people that would be willing to dedicate some time to do that kind of thing. It sounds like a fantastic opportunity, especially its proximity to those mountain bike trails that don't really get used in the winter, but give somebody an area to go to in the winter.
So I just want to say thank you. I have worked with you guys. I was membership director over at Stowe area for a long time. Also ran snowshoe tours on many of your paths. And I will say, having worked for UMIAC, we would go out because we were using the trails and clean, you know, when we knew, so there was a lot of energy to keep those trails up and going because they're so valuable. And I'm absolutely ecstatic about this. I know that I'm thrilled that there's starting to be collaborations going on because I know the Selena Rooney has been working on hooking up her mountain bike trails with the town. We've talked for years about hooking up the rail trail. So I think this just further develops that working collaboration that we just can't stand alone anymore. We need all these partners, and we need to all work together for the whole region. And I do know, speaking of bikes, Jamie Brewster, who's not here, has been a huge advocate. He's up at the Duhamel Pit all the time, and they have a really solid group. So I'm absolutely in favor, and I do feel that people will rally towards this. I'm personally looking really excited to it, and I can drive by Tony Cody's house every day.
I wonder, is there a way, I'm also looking big picture. I mean, just last week, we talked about the recreational trail mapping planning grant. And then the next week we get this. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. So I'm looking at a way to look at big picture at all of the trails that we have really, and making sure that they all have the maintenance that they need. And this could be a great roadway into that. So yeah, a lot. And I do also appreciate the regional partnership.
Yeah, I agree, Leah and Laura. This is just, it's a great opportunity to give this a kickstart and pull all these little entities together, because we have a lot going on in Morristown. There's a lot of trail work going on, a lot of recreation behind the scenes, and everyone's kind of working in their own little void. So we just need to, pull all that together. So you're looking for us to get back to you in the next 6 weeks? Perhaps even pull you back for.
I think. Yeah. So what would be great is, I guess what we do when we're gonna work with a landowner is a two-step process. One is our board gives us approval to proceed with down the road. And the second is like when we're ready to close, a second vote to like, let's exchange hands, let's, sign paperwork and all that. And so it would be great to have some sort of acknowledgement tonight that you want to work with us on this. And if at some point you decide that the numbers aren't lining up or you want to pull back, that's perfectly fine. But it would be great to know that you're an interested partner so we can kind of start the conversations around the easement.
I guess I would just ask, is there anybody on the board that's not willing to be an interested party at this point? I think you're getting consensus from all five of us that, we think this is a great opportunity, a fantastic opportunity for the town. And use George's words, it's a jewel. We've got, I think, a bunch of jewels in town, and we're just perhaps adding another one to the list. So this would be great.
We need a beach.
And we need a beach. We need a beach. We'll need a lifeguard. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming in, and we really appreciate this.
Thanks for making time. Thank you. Yeah.
On behalf of the town, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on then to number 5. Update from Habitat for Humanity. I know Robin's in the room. Robin Pierce is here from Habitat for Humanity, and there has been a survey of the lot done, is my understanding. And Robin, do you have a few words to say?
We have electronically, but I didn't bring a map.
Yeah, come right up to the microphone, please.
You all have this.
Yeah, we do have a map. We were all given a map.
So, Robin here, speaking on Habitat for Humanity. Last time I was here, the board had asked for us to do a survey of the site. Until this point, we've been referring to the mobile home site. We didn't really know how large it was. And the survey shows us that it's larger than we thought it was. There is just one zoning control over the site, and it's the back lot has to be 10 feet from the back of the wall. There is no front yard setback, there's no side yard setback. So we took the outline of the house we built at 11 Olive Street. And we placed it on the property with a porch and a driveway in what we thought was the safest place. David Mullen, the CEO of Vermont Habitat for Humanity, always likes to have a driveway that takes 2 cars. So we worked that out. It does bleed into the existing parking right. We had met previously, and apparently there are a few spaces that could be added right in front of the library, which would offset some of the loss. But I think that, you know, the smaller a home, the more important the outside space is. I mean, we could maybe work it out that we could get a house there that has a parking lot and a sidewalk and nothing else. I think if you're going to have a house for a family, it's important that you have some garden space for the family to be in. So if you could look at the map, the top corner just touches 10-foot backyard setback. So we can't go any further forward. To make it look, you know, at home on the street, we had a parallel with the street itself. There is quite a wide municipal right of way there. So we put it right, the porch is the crosshatch piece in front. And we put it right up to the property line. But it's the best we could do to fit it in. We put some evergreen trees, the parking lot side, just to give a bit of screening to the house. So we're hoping that we can move forward with this, as we said before, the Morristown's a priority for us. We like working here. It worked out really well for 11 Olive Street. So we can move forward with this.
Great. Thank you, Robin. Questions from the board? Go ahead, George.
So Robin, the existing municipal parking lot is cited for how many, or designed for how many cars right now? We touching. That might be George's question.
Yes, my memory here. I think it's somewhere between 22 and 24.
Okay, between 22 and 24. The proposed redesign of the parking lot would have how many spots in it?
I think 20.
Okay, so we're down 2 to 4. And then you talked about, you and Jordan looked at adding back some spots on Richmond Street. And that would be a +2.
Yeah, Jordan reckoned we put 2 there, and I looked at it.
Okay, so we're either at even or -2 based on using 22 or 24.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I think that's the only question I've got for you, Robin. Is just because we all know there's been some concern about losing parking spots there. So having as much of the facts as we can helps me. So thank you.
Other questions?
I often see a plow parked there or some piece of equipment parked there, which it looks like you're losing that space now.
Yeah, Jordan with Morristown Highway. We do store the pusher box for our loader in that area. And we do also pile snow in the area where the home is going to be built. But I think those are pretty minor things that we could adapt to, either with some fire department locations, or I think they're minor things that we could adapt to make this project possible.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's that? Yeah, go ahead, Laura.
So having been on DRB, and there was a lot of discussion about the governor's house. At one point, there was parallel parking along the roadside. And if you look at, there is green space back here that there had been proposed parking there. Is that, I would think we might consider it, because I know it's been proposed before, but it was different with property owners. We now know that it belongs to the library.
You mean the backside of the library?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right here.
Yeah, again, Jordan with Highway.
Right there.
Are you? Yeah, I see where you're pointing to. I'm not sure personally on the ownership of that. I did work the library on their touch a truck.
Yeah.
And I remember them having to ask their neighbor for permission to use. So I'm not sure exactly where the property lines are there. But if it's library property and they would be open to the idea, I'm sure that's a conversation we could have. The library's us.
Yeah, my understanding was is the property line in the way it's drawn here, although it was definitely in contention. It goes down the middle, but along the grass. But anyway, just looking for options.
The select board in 2024 signed off on a new boundary line, which reduced the library's boundary.
Wasn't it along the edge of the road or was it the green? We can look at it, just,
So here?
yeah.
It was the whole length of the parcel.
But was the line on the road? Because originally there was parking proposed in the green space.
I guess the question is the line on that map accurate, do you think? The line that goes right down the paved area?
Middle.
Wouldn't be able to have
Yeah, okay. Just throwing it out there.
Robin pointed out this green space, but he wants to build on that.
In the future.
Oh, okay.
So-
Just looking for options.
So can I get a clarification? Laurie, you're referring to the back of the library. Is the back of the library for you between the library and the cemetery, or between the library and the governor's house or the next house?
It was this space.
But yeah, but I want to show everybody
Yep.
else here. So which one is it?
Library and the governor's house.
The library
Yes.
and the governor's house. Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Laura. That's certainly an option, because we know parking,
Yep.
we know parking's an issue there, and
And it's been just, so that the library doesn't technically lose space. Just forget it. Always looking
Yeah.
for options.
and I just want to give you more chance to talk. Anybody else here? Yeah, come on up to the microphone. Introduce yourself.
I'm Donald Valentine. I'm not a Morrisville resident. I haven't been for some time now. But I live in Elmore and I use that library quite a bit. I wish I'd have been aware of this issue earlier. I did put a letter in the paper about it here a week ago and spoke with Mr. Raymond about it. Nobody that's associated with that library wants to take anything away from Habitat for Humanity. We all support it. But I would like to ask you to consider the future, not just right now. When I was a youngster here in Morrisville, we had what, 2,600 population? We're double that now. That library gets more use all the time. I have schedules here that I'm happy to leave with you to look at to see how much activity there is in that library. And you're not going to be able to get space there again for a possibility to expand a little bit of parking lot there is there. If it's taken to put a small house in there to help Habitat for Humanity, which at least has the ability to take a piece of land anywhere that they could get and use for a house. If that little spot is used, where can you possibly expand the library parking lot without creating a distant walk? That's my concern. And I really think that that's an important thing, given the way the town has grown in the last 20 years or so. Can I leave these with you?
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Valentine, correct? Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I think we all recognize how much the library does and how much activity there is around the library, for sure. We appreciate that. Other questions or thoughts from the board?
Well, just a question, this lot, because I know we have a letter here from Julie Pickett. Is this parking lot owned by the town or is it owned by the library?
It's a municipal lot, and the library land and the building are also owned by the town.
Okay, because I think that's where some of the confusion's coming, and because there's a lot of people that park there that aren't going to the library. So that's Julie Pickett's concern. So yes, there's a parking problem. We are addressing.
I don't know how many.
There's a parking problem in that, excuse me, there's a parking problem in that immediate area.
Yes, yeah.
I think
in
one
general.
way I would just throw it out here, since it's come up, but one way to possibly alleviate that would be to designate some of those parking spots for the library. So that they're for MCL only. I know that does raise an enforcement issue, but it is at least a statement. It is a way to at least move this forward because
Yeah.
they're you know, the parking that's there, we don't know who all's parking there.
Yeah.
We got a pretty good idea. It's probably across the road at
Yeah, we don't.
LSSU, where a lot of those individuals are, where those cars are coming from. But I think if it did come down to the library parking being the issue, I think designating spots for library only use would be a way to move that forward.
Is this lot under Copley Foundation jurisdiction? I don't think it is, but
I'm aware of.
just because the municipal lot, we can't designate spots is why I'm asking, because of the Copley. He's talking about designating spots for, so we don't seem to have that issue in this lot, so, yeah.
I'd have to research that. So
Just confirming, yeah, because that's part of the issue with the municipal lot.
So tonight is mostly an FYI, letting us know that you had completed the survey and where things stand. We're not looking to take any action tonight.
well, he's expressed to the select board previously that, you know, he does want to involve local tech program, et cetera. So not tonight, but we need to very quickly have this on another agenda.
Yeah.
Some of these things cleared up, so that, you know, we can let them know, and they can, if the select board does approve it, they can move forward with the tech center and other resources that they need. If he could come up and just provide like what he'd ideally would like, that would help with scheduling.
So Robin, what kind of timeline are we talking?
We mostly use volunteers, we use local contractors for heating, plumbing, stuff like that. But all the rest of the people who work in the house are volunteers, so it can take us up to a year to build a home. We have to get in the pipeline, the tech center, if they're going to build the bones of the house and deliver it. You know, we've been talking about this for, you know, a while. No, it'd be really nice if we get a decision within the next 2 months, then we can get in their schedule. That would mean even then, we probably couldn't start until spring 2027.
Okay. I think that's something we can do.
Yeah.
I think we can make a decision.
So
that's something else to put on a no later than March agenda. Go ahead, Rich.
So my understanding is we still don't know if we're at a net zero or a -2 parking spaces with the way this is, right? So we're not sure that we're losing anything. Is that correct?
That's correct. I don't want to say you're not.
But no, but we don't know where we're at. That's more my thing. So this is potentially could be a non-issue with the parking. We're not taking anything away from what we potentially not taking anything away from what we currently have.
And I had looked at, because of the earlier conversation about basically the triangle, about could you get any more parking spaces in there if you wanted to expand the parking space? The road to get to park would take up most of the spaces. You might get 3 cars on it. So the triangle can gain you 3 more cars.
Yeah.
So there's potential there. Okay.
Judy Bickford, I know in the past and probably happening now, there are people who live nearby who park there, especially in the winter. So it's being used as an overnight parking or even permanent parking in the wintertime.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you for that, Judy. Okay.
Yep.
Any other discussion at this point? Yeah, come on up.
Tom Snip, Morristown. I just wasn't sure. Is that in the historic district?
I believe it is. I'm not certain, but I believe it is.
If it is, the construction would follow the guidelines for.
Yeah, so Robin checked in with zoning administrator and everything was cleared. Yep.
Thank you, Tom. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna move on then. Yeah, come on up.
Jerry Throne. This came to my attention when I saw the article in the paper. It prompted me to do my own investigation.
The article concerning
Number of spaces. Robin, if anything has changed, let me know, but based on what I saw, there would actually be an addition of 1 space.
Okay. Thank you.
With what was originally proposed.
Yep. I think it's safe to say it's really close to being a similar number of spots, maybe one or two away, but okay, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna move on. I think we've discussed that.
It is compounded, though, that parking lot is often full, and people that are trying to attend the library are not able to park and then can't attend the programs they wish to go to. So
Right.
I'm glad we're getting a house, but it doesn't solve that we still have a parking problem with that municipal lot.
And the parking problem, at least in my mind, is parking for the library.
Correct.
Yes, there are people parking there, and you know, as I've said, I think we can alleviate that by dedicating spots to the library. We can figure out how many spots are patronized by the library clientele,
Okay,
and
so I don't want to lose some of that.
yeah. So, okay,
Can I make one last?
yeah, go ahead.
I think one of the issues with this lot is that everybody wants to park right next to wherever they're going. So if there are school employees that are parking there, it's because they want to be close to the grading building. If it's library patrons, they want to be close to the library. Now, the municipal lot is not very far away. It's 4 houses down, and then however you go. Now, that lot at certain times is not empty, but it's not full. So it's how much distance in part do you want to walk to get to your destination, whether it's the library or the graded building, to use those two, and maybe as Judy says, maybe we've got some other uses in there that don't apply to either. And Jordan's using it a little bit as a place to put the snow piece of equipment, but that can be fixed as well. So I'm not advocating for one position or another, but there are spots that are not that far away. It's not like we're asking them to park in the oxbow and then hike up. So I think we can have the conversation and look at other reasonable places to park. Frankly, the school could park up the hill at PA. And that's not a terrible hike. Yes, it's a little bit of a hill one way. Well, it's the school both uphill both ways, which is not true. But we've got more than this lot that can serve this area. All I want to say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we've talked about parking for a while now, and go ahead. We'll take one more comment, and then I'm going to move.
Evelyn Throne, I'll try to just wrap it all up. There is a traffic study that has been, we have a grant for. I don't know if this could be part of that. That, you know, where are people parking? How are they moving the cars around town? You know, how are the pedestrians able to move along safely? It does all kind of tie in together. I think perhaps that, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So the idea is that maybe this is just brought to highlight that parking lot needs to be used more efficiently for people who need to park there because it's harder for them to walk in and out. And also some people are parking there and taking up some of those spaces. So I think that looking at the parking is a very effective way to perhaps improve the situation, even though the house would be there.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to move on to number 6. Approve and sign the annual disclosure to the state for highway mileage. So we have a document in our packets. Was anyone going to, Jordan, you're going to speak to this? Great, thank you.
Jordan St. Ange Highway. This is this standard form that we have to sign every year. You'll notice part 2, section 1, new highways, plus 0.02 miles. This is the area this is referring to is right in front of the Noise House. Nothing has changed there, but the state has become aware that their map wasn't entirely correct. And there's another entrance there where there's the green space where the road kind of goes around it. And there's one entrance there to West High Street and the Noise House that wasn't part of the map that they had. So this is really just the state updating their maps to better reflect what is in the field.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. That was my question. I had asked somebody here today that same question, so thank you.
So Jordan, is there a High Street or is there a West High Street and an East High Street? I'm being a pain in the butt.
There's a West High Street and an East High Street.
Okay, and this is West
High.
Should it say that on this one? It just says.
It has a town highway number, correct?
Okay, so
I think that
okay,
satisfies.
yep, thank you. That's it. I'm done.
Okay, any other questions regarding the certificate of highway mileage? I would entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve and sign the annual disclosure of the state for the state to the state for highway mileage for the year ending February 10, 2026.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion by Richard and a second by Laura. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Be unanimous. Number 7, I think this is going to be perhaps be Jordan as well. So review and adopt the updated 2026 town road and bridge standards and certificate of compliance.
So this is the same standards that I presented to you spring last year, a while back. We did adopt it. They have come out with some changes. The change that they have made is
They being the state.
They being the state, correct. The state is now updating these requirements to where cross culverts going under the road need to be a minimum of 18 inches.
Yeah.
Our road policy already calls for a 24-inch minimal culvert. So it is something that we're already exceeding that requirement.
Right. I think I read in here that if we do exceed requirements, that's okay. These are all minimum requirements.
Minimum requirement, yep.
Any other significant changes?
That's the only change.
That's the only change. Great. Thank you. So I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt and sign the updated 2026 town road and bridge standards and the associated certification of compliance as updated by the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources and the Vermont Agency of Transportation.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Richard and a second by Laura.
One question.
Yeah, discussion. Go ahead, George.
Thank you. So what I'm hearing you say, John, is there's no downsides to proving this.
No.
We're either there already
We're
or
already
exceeding it.
We're exceeding it. They call for a minimum cross culvert diameter of 18 inches. We call for a minimum of 24.
And everything else is what we've either previously adopted or.
Everything else is the same as what we've
Okay.
adopted.
Thank you. Yep.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. And I just want to say thank you, Jordan St. Ange. For those of you who don't know, he was down at the State House today, delivering a presentation to the Senate Transportation Committee and put Morristown on the map and was able to, Brent was there as well. Brent and Jordan were both able to let that group of senators know the unique, well, the circumstances that we're dealing with here in Morristown with taking care of our roads, and which I was going to say unique, they're not unique. Other towns are dealing with the same thing, but thank you very much for the work that the two of you did today for putting us on the map. And our local senator, Senator Westman, is the chair of that committee. And I think that had something to do with the fact that Morristown was asked to come down as well. But thank you.
Thank you. It was a good opportunity for myself and the town. So glad it worked out.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to move on to old business. Approve and sign the local options tax fund use policy. So we've been discussing this for the last at least 2, if not 3 meetings. And so we have a final version of this in the packet. And I'm hoping there probably doesn't need to be too much more discussion in regards to this, but I would, I guess I would open it up to a motion first and then we can discuss it.
I'll move to approve and sign the local option tax fund use policy for the town of Morristown to establish guidelines, the dedicated use of revenues for community benefit and fiscal responsibility.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion by Richard and a second by George. Discussion from the board. Any comments from the board? You know, the last time we talked about this, I believe we changed one word. Thank you, George, for that. Okay, comments from the audience. Come on up.
Martin Green, just a couple of questions. I'm sure I probably missed something here. Maybe I'm not understanding. I'm looking at a couple of places under purpose and then establishment of local option tax fund. And it specifically refers to the local option sales tax. Are the other possibilities going to be in this policy, the rooms and meals or the alcohol, or is that sales tax just a generic name for all the local options taxes? Do you understand?
Yeah.
I do understand.
That is a good
Yeah,
point.
that's a great find.
Yep.
Because right now it does sound like it's only the sales tax that's being included here. So, but I think the intent is to include all three, rooms and meals, but maybe this can be established clear and consistent guidelines for the use of revenues generated by the 1% local options tax and leave the word sales out. But that's a great catch, Mr. Green.
Okay.
Why am I not surprised you caught that? Thank you. It does.
And the other question is, will recreation be specifically mentioned in here as one of those places to which these funds could be allotted? And I know we've talked about it, but if not, why not? Recreation kind of / library, because I do see, the economic and community development, and just didn't know if maybe that might be under that heading. So I was just wondering about that.
Certainly during the last couple of years, it's been mentioned and it's been discussed. And, I would think it probably does fall under that umbrella, but it doesn't fall under that explicitly. You're correct.
Don, can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys produced a document about the local option tax, and you had a clear statement. It was on Richard and Front Page Forum. I'm not sure who produced the document, but you had a clear statement, statutes, how the money could be used. Does anybody have that? Because I think that is really informational. Do you know what I'm talking about?
You're talking about they were created by the town, by the administration, and it was at the community meeting, correct?
This,
That's the only thing that I know that's been created per se. One second.
there was a post that you did on Front Page Forum. And I thought it was more of a formalized document, but it clearly stated, because the statute, and Brent could probably speak to this, because I think that's what's getting some confusion, is that we are under state statutes about how this money can be used. Am I wrong? And I think that's what this is based on. I've seen it in multiple things, but
The policy, what the policy is based on?
how the local option taxes can be used.
The town can, I believe the town can determine how the local option tax
For
is used.
anything?
Well, I do know we did
That's-
research on other towns, and we know, for example, Williston puts funds raised from the local option tax towards their operating budget. St. Albans was very specific about putting it towards recreational based infrastructure, as well as for scholarships for folks to use their recreational programs. Shelburne, I don't have the notes with me, but Shelburne had a variety of things. So it is really under the what the town wishes to do with it. I don't believe it needs to go towards municipal expenses.
Okay. I just want to be clear that we're not, for everybody, that we're not misleading people. That's my concern, is that we're clear about, because I've always stated I'm a little concerned about the vagueness. I would like it, and other people I've talked to having it dedicated. I understand the value of this. I just want to make sure that we're not misleading people, that it's just this open-ended fund. That's my concern.
So, and I think that's what we're trying to do here,
Yeah.
Laura, is be as clear as we can. I mean, let's face it, we put together a 3-page document here that lists a whole bunch of areas that we consider to be pertinent places to put this money. And we've also made it very clear that none of this money would ever be spent without
Approved.
being discussed and motioned at a publicly warned select board meeting. So I think any fear on anyone's part that we're trying to, push this under the carpet or any of that, I think, I mean, it would be hard to put in a document with this many paragraphs to it that
Yeah.
covers every possible expenditure that might happen. But I think we've been pretty good at covering a lot of the areas that we have discussed. So,
And this document isn't necessarily the end all be all for this, because we don't know what we don't know, right? The last paragraph says that we can amend or repeal any or all of this the way that it's
Yes.
sent. So I understand what
Yeah.
you're saying, but I know that we struggled with
Yeah,
vagueness
I know.
and being too concise
Yeah.
about what we wanted to do, and trying to find a happy medium, I think, is what this document does.
and just to be clear, this is a policy, just like the select board policies, that can be changed. So we can amend it, each year depending on, I know the goal here is so that we don't have to do too much. This gives us flexibility. So,
and God forbid, more than every year if we wanted to.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Brent.
So as you know, I did participate in writing this, and as I'm interpreting this as town manager, this could not be used as in its current form for general operating fund.
that was my
It's not,
understanding.
It's all capital projects.
That's the verbiage I needed. Thank you.
So
Okay.
if you want us to be
No.
clear on that, we can add that so that the public can understand that this isn't going to be used for general operating costs.
That's the information that I've been reading, and I apologize, I didn't have the specifics, but I think that's an important factor.
Yeah, so
Because
I can add that in the language so it's clear. I mean, again, the select board can amend this document.
Yeah.
But I think that this shows, and in other communities, it's shown, the intent of the select board for the uses. And like you said, policies can be amended by the select board, but I think it's very important that if there is question, that we just put in here specifically shall not be used for general operating fund costs.
I would like that, and I actually think that would help for clarity in talking with people, because they're just we realize we're in money trouble, and they want to money to go to things that we need to go to. So, and part of this is coming from the craziness going at the federal government, that they're, so they're just wanting some kind of verification. So I would like that to make it clear for now.
So if we inserted that language, we could do that under purpose as I would put it between the first and the second bullet, or maybe even make it the first bullet.
I mean, you could put it under authorized uses of funds. Revenues in the local option tax fund should be dedicated to capital expenditures.
It sounds like a purpose, though. The purpose is to, what was the wording there, Brent, that you just used?
Capital projects
But not
general operating.
If we put capital projects, does that preclude us from using it to reduce property taxes?
Well,
No.
there's also,
Roads, which too easy in the budget, which then eventually.
Well, but.
One sec.
no, we have debt.
Folks, I want to have a conversation here among the board right now. So go ahead.
So there's also a section on debt pay down. So what I'm saying is we can put in specifically, it's not to be used for general operating costs.
I think that's all we need to say.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The purpose, the intent is not to use it for general operational costs.
That would be my recommendation. George,
You go ahead, George.
Thanks. I disagree. And I disagree for this reason. If we look at the section on reduction of municipal property taxes, it says applying a portion of the local option tax revenues to offset the municipal property tax requirements as part of the annual budget. So are we pledging it on roads? No, but we're budgeting for roads, and then we're saying we're going to take some money and use it as a revenue stream, transfer it to the general fund, to reduce property taxes. This to me is a tempest in a teapot. We say we can, not that we will, but we can use LOT funds through the process that we've established, put it on the agenda, discuss it, vote it. But it's not, quote, reducing the expense of, quote, direct line to the expense, but it's reducing the tax burden by putting revenues in for municipal operations that we might think are necessary, but we have LOT funds that we can choose to reduce the tax burden on. This is not a hell of a lot different than transferring unallocated fund balances. It's the same thing. It's a different explanation, but it's the same thing. I don't know why we're confusing this. We say what we can do, and that is part of it. Now, the LOT transfer is not going to say to take care of a $200,000 road project or anything else. It's just going to say transfer from LOT and take off $100,000, $200,000, and that factors into the calculation of the tax rate. I don't see why we're doing this. It's clear to me.
I've taken feedback from some community members that they're concerned that, you know, this will enable us to hire staff and just offset those costs by using it for additional hiring or things that aren't important projects. So I'm sensitive to that. And I totally, you're correct, George. So that, but that's why I was, if there can be further clarification somehow that this.
I think if you, okay for me?
Yeah, go ahead, George.
I think if we put in any kind of language that says excluding, you know, budgeted, you know, local budgeted items, then we've got to rework that whole section around reduction of municipal property taxes. Because, I mean, whether you call it left-handed or right-handed, it's the same thing. That's my point. In a nutshell. If we're going to allow it in authorized uses of funds, then we can't put a negative in the purpose. I may be the only one thinking that way, but it seems to me that we're now setting ourselves up against each other in the same policy. They're two different thoughts.
I'm feeling like we can wordsmith this for a long time. I think the intent here by this board is, in my mind, very clear what we want to use this money for. And the purpose for this policy was to get something out into the public so that the public could be clear on what the board is thinking these monies could be used for if in fact the local option tax passes. You know, you're convincing me, George, just to leave this alone. I think we have one word that we can remove, that being the sales. And you know, we've been discussing this for a while, and I think we can go back and forth for a long time. And we got one paragraph that, you know, might be saying one thing, but I think our intent is really clear. And as has been said, this is open for, Richard's mentioned it, Laura's mentioned it, this is open for amendment. So we can change this. We're not casting something in stone for now until the end of time. So for perpetuity. So I would suggest that we go forward with the motion that we have. We did make a motion, right?
Yeah.
And but to remove that one word, that being sales, under purpose, the first bullet under purpose, that would be my suggestion.
Don, can I add one thing?
Yeah, go ahead, Laura.
I just want to remind the board that these LOT taxes have not been passed yet. So that is part of my concern. And having heard from people, if they don't have a guarantee that, you know, or some kind of commitment, especially initially this first year of where it's going. So that is my ulterior motive, is to build confidence in the public, especially this first year. Once those taxes get, you know, if those taxes get passed and we see how everything's going, but we do know, you know, the board knows that we have got significant money that has got to go to roads. So I don't think any of us are anticipating that we're going to have this first year that there's, you know, we've got to get through a couple years. So that's really my concern is what my feedback from folks, and I'm not trying to cloud the process, but we sitting at this table are much more involved than somebody just reading something.
Right.
And the voters.
And that's the challenge, right?
Yeah,
That-
it is the challenge.
Is
Yeah.
try to get the information that we have out there
Yeah,
to everybody.
as
because
clear as possible.
you
Yeah.
miss one meeting and you're
Yep.
3 months back because you didn't hear the conversation that we had
Yeah.
that led up to where
Lot
how
of
we get to
info.
this document, because this document is a shadow of what it was when we originally
Yeah.
drafted it. So.
I don't think the issue is the wording in this document either. I think it's getting the word out and educating the public as to what we as a board are really thinking. What we really think, or why we think we need the local option tax revenues.
So how best to do that? We have been holding various listening sessions, gatherings. We've had 3 different types of informational pieces available in public. They're also available online. We've had
Letters to
posts-
the editor.
letters to the editors. We've had some posts in Front Porch Forum. What other way? Do you have any ideas? What other
I mean,
way?
I think this statement, just saying it's not for general operation would, so they don't have to dig through this, would be a very clear right up front that it's not, it's not, it's meant for capital gains. That's just the feedback I've gotten, and I've talked with a lot of people, and I think it's a kind of an easy thing that it's not tying our hands because we can change it next year. And I just think we're in a terrible state right now where people are so up, they're so, the constant instability in the federal government that, they're just in a terrible, people are so fearful, and the high taxes and everybody's insurance is going up. So I'm just like, whatever we can do to assure people that it's going to go where it goes, to me is a no-brainer. That's my thought.
And we've done that with people, and they get it right away. And what you're talking about has not come up in our conversations. It's just, I've talked to a lot of people too. And what you're talking about isn't coming up unless maybe there's some rumors out there that are, and the flames are being fanned under them, but it's just not coming up at the discussions that we're having. People that are emailing me, that's not what's coming up.
Every example.
So I just don't, I think we can wordsmith this forever. And I think the biggest issue we have right now is educating the public in this town as to what we're really talking about and what the need of this is. I listened into that Senate Transportation Committee meeting today, and LOT is so obvious for towns our size. I mean, it's designed for Morristowns of this world. It is, listening to the senators talk at this meeting today and the meetings last week. I mean, this is what community economic hubs need, is a way to garner revenue to pay for the infrastructure that we have to pay for. We've talked about this so many times, and that is clearly the intent of this board. I think that's the belief of this board, that is what we're trying to do. This is about the capital projects that this town needs to undertake. It's not somebody's bank account to spend it on whatever we choose to spend it on. That's not what this is about. That's not what the other 30 odd towns in Vermont that have invoked this are doing. They're doing just the opposite. I don't think we're unique. I think there is a concern on the part of some people in town about what the LOT is. But I'll tell you, every time I've had a chance to talk to them, every time I've had a chance to share the information, every time I've had a chance to provide them with the documents, they've either come back to the middle of the road or they're saying this is a no-brainer. This is an obvious thing that we as a town need to do. And I just, I think there's a lot of fear mongering, and I just, we're passing up an incredible opportunity here. And I know it's in the hands of the taxpayers, it's in the hands of the taxpayers, but it's in the hands of the voters. And I hope we can get the word out to enough people in town over the course of the next 2 weeks to make sure this does get across the finish line. I think we are going to kick ourselves awfully hard if this fails on March 3rd. We're going to look back on this and say, what were we thinking? Giving up 1.2 or more million dollars of revenue and then not being able to do the things that need to be done. I know I'm preaching to the choir right now. I don't know everybody that's on Zoom, and I don't know everyone's going to listen to it, but I got to take advantage of the opportunity. I don't want to kick myself in the pants and say that I should have said more, but I got to tell you, this is such a golden egg. This is what was it? The goose that could laid the golden egg. You know, this is a great opportunity. Listen to the senators down in Montpelier. Listen to what our local senator has to say. Listen to what the senator from Windsor County has to say. It's laid out there. And Morristown is the one town in Lamoille County that should be doing this the most, even more than Stowe should, because we are that economic hub in this town. Yeah, they're the tourist hub. They're the tourist hub of the state. We all know that. But we're unique. We provide the services for our folks. And this is the opportunity. I've said enough, but anything else? Anything from the board first?
Yeah, maybe let me say one thing. I want to go back to where Martin was. When we talk about his very valid point about the word sales, I'm not making a motion, but I would say we take that word out, but we change tax to taxes, because we've got 3 taxes.
Yeah, okay.
That's all I want to say. Then I'll yield to Martin or anybody, whoever.
Okay, Martin, and then Jerry, come on up, introduce yourself, please.
Martin Green. To Leah's question, we're at the 11th hour. We got 2 weeks before the voters vote. Could we take all those graphics and all that material that's been created and put that in the newspaper within the next couple of weeks? I don't know how that's done, but to inform and educate. I don't know how else to get it out to the most people at one time, so they're prepared as best as possible when they get to the voting booth.
Thank you, Martin.
Very thrown. Georgia, I agree with you 100%. And I see that most board members are in agreement. I don't think we should change this. I think it limits us. I'm not concerned at all about voters not understanding that this will not be used for general funds. But it could be used for general funds. But the thing is that, as we all know here, that no matter what it is that's going to be proposed to be, that these funds be used for, it has to come to a meeting, open to the public, and the public has to have their opportunity to weigh in on what those are. So if Brent says, I want to hire another assistant, all that stuff gets explained out in the open, why and what for. I think Martin and I have pretty much the same brain on a lot of things. The other place where sales tax is used is under establishment of local option tax fund. In the first line, towards the end of the first line, that's another use of the word sales tax. So I think that you'll want to adjust that as well. I think if you want people to understand what these are going to be used, or what these funds could be used for, I think you need to spell out that recreation is a possibility. I've heard a lot of people, and you all did too, at various meetings very passionately, that they felt that recreation is something that's missing from this budget. And I think that it would be a shame not to mention the word recreation is a possibility to be used here.
Thank you, Jerry. So yeah, we got two places where sales is in there. Yeah, it's under, it's the first line of establishment of local option tax fund. I'm just wondering. And Judy, you and I spoke about this morning, but we can get a fresh copy of this that we can sign tonight. Okay, great.
Do you need a motion to amend the original?
I certainly do. I do, or at least I need an agreement from the motioner and the seconder. Okay.
You're gonna, we're gonna approve this as presented. I'm gonna go change those two words right now.
No, you're not.
Okay.
You're not.
Okay, so let's make sure we get the words right. The way we
So-
want it.
I don't think we have a local option tax. That's how we're proposing this. So to add ES onto the end doesn't, that's all, that's the only thing I think. I agree with getting rid of sales, but to add ES to say taxes as plural, it's not a local option taxes, it's a local option tax.
Yeah.
So just a different way, I see how you got there, but a different way of looking at it.
Yeah, 6 and 1 half dozen. As long as sales is gone.
Yes, you can.
Local option taxes.
Well, you stand corrected.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
All right, George.
So does that cross out come back in? Boy, Jerry, I'll slip you the 20 afterwards.
All right, there you go. I will say though, in Richard's
That's
defense,
funny.
it says local option tax all the way through here in multiple places.
And that's how it's.
It's actually, it's even the title
Yeah.
of this.
I don't agree with
Well,
that.
part of it is because it's the local option tax fund,
Fund.
which is the restricted
Single.
fund, but you have 3 local option taxes
Yep.
going into it.
All right, Judy, make the change.
3 separate articles. So legally, are we okay leaving it as tax? I mean, I think we are.
I think we are.
Yeah.
I think we're fine.
I mean, there's some semantics
we're
here.
There goes your 20, Jerry.
You remove sales.
Just move sales, yeah.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Just presented, and I'm going to the strings right now.
Okay.
You
Good.
don't fix the motion. Anyway,
Okay.
Okay.
okay?
Thank you, Judy.
You keep on going. You need a vote, you need a vote.
It's out the ES again.
So we can, okay, so you're gonna make those changes? So
You have a motion.
I have a motion, I have a second. I don't think we need to discuss this any further. Okay. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, we are 4-1. Okay, approve the warrants.
Move to approve the warrants.
I have a motion to approve the warrants. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Richard, a second by George. Any discussion regarding the warrants? Okay, all those in favor of approving the warrants, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Upcoming schedule, we have, well, remind everyone, town meeting day is coming up on March 3rd, Tuesday. We did move our regular first Monday of the month select board meeting from March 2nd to March 4th. So March 4th will be our first regular select board meeting in March, and March 16th will be our other regular select board meeting from March. Do we have any other business?
No.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to adjourn then.
Move to adjourn.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
So it is 7:14.
This is shut.
Do we have any discussion? Hearing none.
No.
All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
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 How am I gonna do it? My night.
Thank you, folks.
Go watch the